let's move on to our next topic, which is a little bit more of a reveal centered around Victoria Alonso's departure from Marvel. And it all comes from this book that has dropped, which is an unauthorized tell-all about Marvel, basically.
I'm reading that right now, actually.
Are you reading the book? What did you think of it?
Yes, I am. Well, I'm listening to the audiobook, but same difference.
What thoughts? What do you think of it?
So far, I am pleasantly surprised by it. They say in the foreword that early on they got full access to everything.
Yeah.
And they put the finishing touches on it in April of this year, so just after the Alonso fighting. And they also say that they had early access early on, but they got the impression that Disney wanted to remove that access towards the end. So I haven't read how we get there. But it's very, very clear that Kevin Feige is one of their sources from everything that we have read. So you can they say that they've spoken to 100 different people of varying levels of importance. Most of them are like low-level technical personnel. That would be the majority of those 100. And then a number of producers and stuff like that. And I've gotten to the point where they have now started doing the movies, because they've actually done a really, really good brief history of Marvel, the company. And what they did really well was basically how Marvel got into the movies to begin with, and how Marvel went from licensing movies to becoming their own studio, and the detailed machinations of exactly how that happened. And I have to say, I was pretty impressed with that part on the whole. Now, there are some details here and there that I know that they didn't cover, which means that this thing is fairly incomplete when I am able to spot there. You missed something. There, you missed something.
Okay.
And I have it like 5 times so far, where it's like, you missed something there. But on the whole, I am impressed with the level of detail that they have been able to amass here. And certainly up to this point, how honestly unimportant Kevin Feige has been in the story of the creation of Marvel Studios, because he's just a bit character on the side there. And of course, he's going to be more and more important as you get along here, but it's very, very clear that it's slanted in his favor and against some of the people more on the funding side that Kevin Feige eventually clashed with, which isn't difficult because he eventually clashed with everyone. So it will be interesting to see how this thing progresses and moves along. So yeah, I'll do a video when I'm done with it, maybe even some before. But so far, on the technical, how to create the studio aspects, I'm impressed.
Okay, well, interesting. Well, there you go, ladies and gents. Somewhat impressed from Andre there. What we will do is I'm going to get Andre to talk a little bit more. Hold on.
That would be the doggies right there. That's the man.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm back.
Yeah.
Now he knows what it's like when Sadie starts going off for no good reason. It's just like,
well, I've
can't
got
control
one dog
her.
trying to eat the other dog's food. So
oh no! Yeah, that'll start a fight.
Right, anyway, ladies and gents, let's get on to this particularly here. So we've had our sort of review from Andre. But basically, it's all about, I mean, they try and throw Bob Chapek under the bus again. Everyone puts Bob Chapek under
Blame
the
the guy that's not there.
Bob Chapek and Ike Perlmutter are the two that are mainly thrown under the bus from what it sounds like. And Victoria Alonso to a point. But
yeah. So
Marvel would not exist without Ike Perlmutter. This is the kind of thing that impressed me because they have to be kind of honest. And without Ike Perlmutter, none of these movies would exist. Of the mentioned architects, of course they don't use the architects, but of the architects, without these key people, there could be no Marvel Studios and no Marvel movies. I mean, depending on how you choose to rank them, Ike Perlmutter is one of the top 3 important people. Without his early input, we wouldn't have a single one of these movies. Not one would exist without Ike Perlmutter there, because he was either the one that was able to be there at an instrumental time when the company grew into a new direction. He was able to salvage it from all kinds of horrible stuff, or when it came to a point where he couldn't do any more with it, then he facilitated others with bigger vision to take it to a new direction.
Yeah. Well, one of the people that are not influential in anything was Alonso. And
she was worse than useless in everything.
Oh, she was, but in the wrong direction, yeah.
Well, this is a little bit of apparently what happened. So Alonso, this is a quote from the book, Alonso had broken one of Feige's cardinal rules: don't speak out publicly against the company. Pretty good rule, to be fair. Anyone should do that in business. You should never speak out against your own company. It's weird, to quote Rachel Zegler. A source close to the matter said that later that year, Feige suggested to Alonso that she had outgrown her role at Marvel, and he reportedly cautioned her to keep her head down and do the work, which she didn't actually do. So in early 2023, Alonso refused to act on Marvel Studios' request to remove LGBTQ pride symbols from Quantumania for foreign markets. So that's not smart. It's not doing your job. The atmosphere at the studio was tense. The Department of Yes had said no. Despacito outsourced the VFX work anyway, and act Alonso regarded as a betrayal. Thoughts?
Yeah, I have one thought. By basically refusing to make the necessary cuts, because basically what she's saying is that, okay, this is the law of the land in these territories. And I have decided that I'm not interested in applying or obeying the law of the land, because I disagree with it. This is kind of like a foreign filmmaker wanting to have his or her or they or them's movie released in the States, and then the MPAA comes and says, okay, in order to release this here, you need to make these cuts, and they say no, that I'm not releasing it in the American market, and screw it, because this is more important. So basically then she's trying to force Disney, a corporation, to adopt her values and lose tens of millions in the process for it.
I was going to say, wasn't this in reference to her not wanting to cut one of the LGBTQ things out of?
Yeah, you know, like that big lesbian woman, like the poor man's Gina Carano, who's like in the quantum world. She's referring to her because she's a lesbian.
And which makes sense. As a business, you're going to release something in a market. This is what people don't understand. You know, as much as these companies virtue signal in the Western world, they equally do it in the other markets. In the Arab world, they will cut stuff left, right, and center because they just want to appease the market. They're a business, first and foremost. They don't give a shit. But she wanted to sort of push that ideology into the well, it would be the Arabic market, basically.
It would be, yeah. It would be basically the Muslim world, and good luck with that. That's not going to go down so well.
No, not at all.
But then again, I guess I got to give her credit because that's something we always gave them shit for, was how they would pander in the U.S., but they would edit things out for other markets. The fact that she stood up for it just goes to prove, you know, everything that we've been saying all this time. But at the same time, it's like they're I don't know. This whole thing is a mess. I think it's hilarious that this tell-all has come out. I wish there was more juicier sides, that, because I agree with Andre. I think this was passed through Kevin Feige first, and the things that are missing because he didn't want them in there.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And I think that there's a way that you tease stuff to the public via something like this, which makes them a bit more, I don't know, amenable to the thought. You know, well, a shock as well, like cancelling of certain things. You know what I mean? All this kind of stuff.
Well, and Andre said it himself. I mean, it's in the golden rule, right? Kevin Feige says you don't talk about the company in public. So he's not talking about the company in public. He gave all this info to somebody else who's talking about the company in public.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So they still got the word out there. And also about Alonso, this is something that we briefly discussed yesterday in Midnight Edge in the morning.
WDD Pro, yeah.
Yeah, he brought it up. And it's actually a really tremendously good point. Because one thing that really puzzled me when Alonso was fired, and she sued Marvel, and then they actually settled with her, and they gave her millions and millions of dollars. I was like, why the hell would you do that, considering how much this woman has lost you? I mean, she is... there are many, many reasons why Phase 4 and Phase 5 are as bad as they are. But if you want to point to one culprit that really championed this within Marvel, it's her. So why would you reward her? But then WW Pro made some points that made me understand. Well, because obviously in order to settle, she had to sign an NDA.
Yeah.
And if she probably ever speaks about Marvel ever again, they're going to take all that money back again. So now they have her silence, and then they drop this book, which is officially
she can't respond,
unauthorized, but unofficially this is official.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that, actually. I can see that a lot.
Because now they get to throw her completely under the bus, and she doesn't get to answer.
Yeah. Yeah, paid to shut up now.
Exactly. Same thing with like Bob Chapek. He also has to take it in the press, but he got paid probably not only the rest of his contract, all 3 years. So he got like basically 3 years pay. Plus he probably got this golden parachute. And all of that is null and void if he ever talks. So yeah, same kind of deal. So there they have some nice throw under the bus people. You see, in corporate and in business, sometimes human sacrifice is required, and that human sacrifice will be paid off. But then they're paid off; they're compensated for. We're going to throw you under the bus now.
Yeah,
this is your paycheck up front for it.
Yeah, I can believe that. Well, no, I thought that was a funny little sort of insight into the behind-the-scenes stuff that we'd all enjoy that.